So guys, for Baylor, following three, I would say, afterthought opponents. Wouldn't you say that, John?
Yeah, I would say they haven't played the strong part of their schedule.
Yeah, they take a dramatic climb up in the schedule this week when the 14th ranked Iowa State Cyclones come to Waco. Both of these teams are coming off, I would say, extremely impressive wins. Last week in Las Vegas, the Cyclones dismantled UNLV 48-3. And Baylor opened up Big 12 play with 45-7 thumping of Kansas. So the Cyclones are a touchdown favorite in this game. I mean, obviously we expect Iowa State to be the favorite as the ranked team, but how vulnerable do you guys think that Matt Campbell's team might be to an upset? And do you see Baylor pulling that off? Randy, we'll start with you.
Yeah, I don't know whether Iowa State's vulnerable to an upset. They've had a couple eye openings in the Northern Iowa game, which was 16-10, and in the Iowa game, which Iowa is pretty darn good. In losing that game by whatever it was, 17 points or 10 or whatever the score was in that game. So Iowa State's had its eyes open, and especially Brock Purdy, who was benched in the fourth quarter of the Iowa game with supposedly, with technically the game still in doubt. Iowa State trailed by just 17 points, and Matt Campbell had seen enough of what Brock was doing, and it wasn't going anywhere with him, so he took him out just so he could clear his head and put in a freshman, a redshirt freshman, and who played pretty well. But yeah, so I think Iowa State's had its eyes open. So as far as vulnerable for an upset, I guess that's always possible, especially on the road and especially at Waco. But there will be tents, I hear. So that's
Indeed.
I don't know whether you guys are all familiar with the tent gate controversy that was up here, at least about 2019. But yeah, so anyway, so that Iowa State will have that going for them. They'll have some shade on the sidelines.
Nobody tailgates like Iowa State in the Big 12 anyway. So
that's phenomenal. Yeah. Brice. I think an upset is possible, but this, like you mentioned before, this will be a huge step up in competition for Baylor. I don't think they've seen a team nearly this physical or even this talented. I don't think Baylor will be intimidated by them. They played them really well up in Ames last year. It came down to the last minute. Mike Rose intercepted a Charlie Brewer pass in the end zone to clinch the win for Iowa State. So I don't think they'll be intimidated by the Cyclones. I think they'll be excited to play them. I give them a slight chance of an upset, but like you mentioned, this is a big step up in competition.
Yeah, I'd say it's the litmus test thus far, at least for Baylor. We're about to find out, just how improved they are. To me, if they're in the game, in the fourth quarter, I feel like that's a really good sign for Baylor going forward. And, even if they lose this game, just the fact that you're coming off a 2-win season and you're trending up, bodes well for Baylor. I feel like they're going to be back in a bowl game this year. And, obviously a win over Iowa State would certainly help that, but I don't look at this as a make or break game for Baylor.